What's up everyone? China Cycling here again with a look at these integrated bars from China. The bar is called The One from a company called Pro Cycling, but they're a little different to felt a lot more flexible than the left drop. I had a very sketchy descent of a mountain to do, trying to use only the left side of the bar and trying to only squeeze the left brake, which is my rear brake. Needless to say, that wasn't the most fun I've had on a bike. When I got home, I unwrapped the bar tape and took off the shifter and saw the crack in the bar and noticed the new wonky angle of the drop. Now, I have no idea if a genuine zip bar would survive such a fall, but most manufacturers will tell you as soon as your bike falls over with carbon bars and the bar gets hit, then you should probably change the bar, even if it doesn't seem to be damaged. At around $200 for a genuine zip bar, that's an expensive mistake. But for my $20 bars, it's not that bad. However, the experience of descending that mountain trying to use only one half of the bar and only having the rear brake put me off carbon bars for a while. So it was back to aluminium bars. Also, as an aside, the internal cable routing of these aero bars makes changing the bar around a 2-hour job, as you have to uncable your whole bike and recable it. This is especially time consuming if you've got full internal cable routing on your bike frame too. From then on, I didn't really experiment with Chinese carbon bars until I made my 4.9 kilo climbing bike about 6 months ago. I knew that bike would have to have carbon bars, but as it wouldn't be my everyday bike, I didn't mind the risk. I went for a traditional non-aero shape, and to my surprise, they were available in 380mm. At this stage, there was a huge choice of Chinese brands. I'm sure of the 20 or so brands, they probably all come from the same 2 or 3 factories, just with different stickers. I went for a brand called Asiacom and asked to get it without any decals. Again, I paid around $20 or 15 British pounds, and when the bar arrived, I was pleasantly surprised. It was stiff. It felt as stiff as my aluminium bars. It was light too, just 180 grams before I cut the drops off them. The quality of it seemed really good, and they're still holding up fine to this day. This got me thinking if I should go back to trying some carbon bars for my everyday bike, my Alley Sprint. I ordered a set of Temani aero bars. They were a little more expensive. They were around $25 or 20 British pounds. And again, I asked for them with no logos. When they arrived, initially everything seemed alright. They were a little heavy at 230 grams, but seemed decent quality. Then I tried to install them. The shifters could actually only go around halfway up the bends on the drops before getting stuck. A quick measure with the calipers and my suspicions were confirmed. The thickness of the drops was way out of spec. Around halfway up the bend, the diameter of the bar increased by around 4 millimeters. I got in touch with the seller and they tried to tell me that this was normal and that I just need to rotate the bar around in the stem more to compensate. But being an aero bar, rotating the bar in the stem meant that the flat aero section of the tops actually became angled and more like a spoiler or an air brake, totally negating any aero gains. The seller then suggested getting some sandpaper and sanding the drops down. I experimented a bit and I took a few millimeters off to the point where the shifters could almost get to the right place. But again, this was by sanding down the bars in the same area my original knockoff bar cracked. I didn't know how much thickness was left in the bar, and it goes without saying what the consequences of a broken bar in the middle of a sprint would be. I felt like I was back to square one with zero confidence in Chinese handlebars. That's when I found this, the One. Its name kind of connected to me. After all my bar problems, would this be the one to fix them? The price wasn't cheap, 999 renminbi, or around $140 or 110 British pounds. But still, a lot cheaper than the big Western brands. It's also an integrated bar with the stem and bar together. The idea being more aero, more strength, less weight, but at the cost of adjustability. In my 380mm wide bar and 100mm long stem, the unit was just a little over 300 grams. The bar is made by Pro Cycling, who also have some of their own bike frames and is part of a new trend in Chinese bike products. Homegrown Chinese brands aiming for greater quality at a higher price. They seem to be aiming for the same or better quality than the big Western brands, but at around half the price. They can't compete with the super cheap Chinese carbon parts, but they're not trying to. They're putting their own money into research and development and marketing, instead of just relying on knockoffs. I personally think it's really respectable and shows that the Chinese market is maturing. The bar is available in widths of 380, 400 or 420mm, with stem sizes ranging from 80mm up to 110mm. This is actually the second generation of the bar. It's a bit stiffer and has a different bike computer mount to the first generation. The bar has holes in the drops for people running Di2 to run the junction box. For me running ETAP, I didn't use those holes, and I just run the brake cables externally through the grooves in the underside of the bar. My cheap Chinese ETAP blips are taped on the inside of the bar, which looks a bit ghetto, but I really love being able to shift when riding on the tops. I think the bar in general looks really nice. The unidirectional matte finish of the carbon fiber is nice, and the black glossy logo isn't too in your face. The aluminium bike computer mount is nothing to write home about, but it does the job. Maybe I'll see about replacing it with something shorter and lighter in the future. It's winter here in China, so I'm not riding as much as I usually do, but the bar has a few hundred kilometers on it now with no problems. It also survived a few airplane trips too, when I went to the Hunter Allen training camp in Qingdao last week. A video on that coming soon. I think the One bar and other high-end Chinese products like it are in a bit of an awkward place. The budget riders who want the lightest bar for the lowest price are going to be put off by the relatively high price. And the rider who wants the absolute best with no expense spared may look down on its made in China origins. For me, personally, I think it's a happy medium between the two. When you consider all the top brands' bars are mostly made in China anyway, is that really a bad thing? The One means I don't have the same nightmare experiences of my previous Chinese bars, and the price isn't so eye-watering that I'm not going to be trying to sue any toddlers who accidentally knock my bike over. In summary then, is it the One bar to rule them all? It's definitely the One for me. Whether the rest of the world is ready to pay more than $100 for a Chinese bar, only time will tell. The One is currently all available in China on Taobao for 999 renminbi. We've had over 1,000 new subscribers here in the past month, so a big hello and thank you for supporting the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button below. I've got many videos coming soon, including an interview with the man who literally wrote the book on power training, Hunter Allen. I caught up with him in Qingdao last week at a training camp he was running. The video on that is coming soon, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. As always, China Cycling out.